My husband's family made a group chat called Life Before Her and accidentally added me. They shared photos of his ex, laughed about my job, and called me Plan B. When I brought it up, my husband said, "They're just being nostalgic. Don't take it personally." I didn't reply. I just took screenshots. And when Christmas came, I made custom ornaments for everyone, each with a quote from the chat printed clearly. When they saw their words hanging from the tree, no one laughed this time. I've never really fit in. Not in high school. Not at work. Not even in my own marriage, if I'm honest. I'm 34 and I live in Flagstaff, Arizona. Small town. Mountain air. Dry summers. The kind of place where people know your business even when you don't tell them. I teach third grade at an elementary school near the freeway and wait tables on weekends at a diner that's been around since the 1950s. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. Or it did. That's not really the point of the story. I met Scott at a friend's party when I was 31. He was the kind of guy who talked soft but stared hard. Always listening. The kind of guy who asked about your mom, your favorite movie, your worst breakup. He didn't seem afraid of details. And after a couple of relationships where I always felt like I was trying too hard, he made me feel noticed. Chosen. Scott worked in tech, remote job, decent salary. No kids, no crazy exes. Or so I thought. We dated for a year and a half before he proposed. His family was polite but distant. From the first dinner, I could feel something off. They'd smile, ask a few questions, but it was like they weren't really looking at me. Like they were looking past me. His mom, Judith, would talk about family traditions, but only the ones I hadn't been part of. Remember when we all went to Big Sur? Or, Melanie made the best cranberry sauce that year. I didn't know who Melanie was for the first few months. Later, I found out she was the one who got away. Scott dated Melanie for 5 years. They broke up 3 months before he met me. That should have been a red flag. I ignored it. Because when you want something to work, you bend the truth a little. You let things slide. Big mistake. The real story started 6 weeks before Christmas last year. I was lying in bed, half asleep, when my phone buzzed. WhatsApp. A new group chat. Title: Life Before Her. No context. Just that. I clicked it. At first, I didn't get it. There were over 200 messages. Photos. Inside jokes. I scrolled. And scrolled. And then I saw it. It was Scott's family. His mom. His dad. His sister Dana. His cousin Brooke. His brother-in-law Greg. Even some weird uncle named Hal who I'd only met once. And Scott. All of them talking about his ex, Melanie. Photos of her at the cabin. Her with their dog, Duke. Her at a family reunion. Melanie sitting on Scott's lap, eating watermelon. Melanie carving the turkey at Thanksgiving. Captioned, "That was a real dinner." Then came the comments. Judith, his mom, Mel had style. Diane wears sneakers to dinner. Brooke, his cousin Melanie had a master's. Diane's still wiping glue off her shirts. Dana, his sister, she's like a walking student loan. His dad. Well, she's Plan B. Every man has one. Then I saw Scott's messages. Someone said, "Can you imagine if Lainey came back?" Scott replied, "Don't tempt me, lol." That one hit hard. I just laid there, staring at the screen. My face hot, like I'd been slapped. I didn't cry. I didn't move. I read every message. Every word. Then I started taking screenshots. My hands were shaking, but I made sure I got everything. Then I left the chat. Quiet. No message. Nothing. The next morning, I didn't say a word. I made coffee. Got dressed. Went to work. I smiled at my students and handed out spelling tests. I refilled syrup for a couple from Texas who were driving through. Life went on. But inside, something broke. 3 nights later, I brought it up. We were brushing our teeth, side by side like always. I said, "Hey, I got added to a weird group chat." Scott didn't look up. What chat? Life Before Her. Ring a bell? He froze. Then laughed. Oh, that. It's just old stuff. Family nostalgia. Don't take it personally. He said it like it was nothing. I stared at him in the mirror. They called me Plan B. They're just joking. They posted pictures of Melanie. They compared my job to hers. Said I wear sneakers like it's a crime. They didn't mean it that way. I didn't answer. I just rinsed my mouth, turned off the light, and went to bed. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of the messages, but because of him. The man lying next to me. The one I married. The one who said nothing. The one who thought this was okay. The next morning, I started planning. I drove to Hobby Lobby and bought 30 clear ornaments. Glass. Delicate. I printed out every quote I screenshotted. One per strip of paper. Rolled each one tight. Tied them with ribbon. Slipped them inside. Then I added tags. To Judith. To Dana. To Greg. One for every name on that chat. I wrapped them in silver tissue paper. Tied them with string. Then I waited. Christmas Eve was at his parents' house. Big tree. Big dinner. Fake smiles. Judith greeted me like always, with a kiss on the cheek and eyes that never really saw me. I brought some decorations, I said, holding up the box. How thoughtful, she said, not even bothering to look. After dinner, everyone opened gifts. I handed mine out one by one. When they saw the ornaments, they looked confused. Smiled, thinking it was just crafty holiday stuff. Then they looked closer. Dana unwrapped hers first. Pulled out the rolled paper. Read aloud without thinking. She's like a walking student loan. Silence. Judith opened hers next. Mel had style. Diane wears sneakers to dinner. Her hand froze. Brooke. Diane's still wiping glue off her shirts. Greg. Plan B. Every man has one. One by one, they opened them. And read their own words. No one laughed. Scott just stared at me. I didn't look away. You wanted nostalgia, I said. I brought it. No one said a thing. Not that night. Not the next day. We left early. Scott didn't say much on the drive home. Just gripped the wheel tight. That night, he finally spoke. You embarrassed them. I turned to him. No. They embarrassed me. He didn't respond. We slept in silence. Weeks passed. Dana texted me once. That was harsh. I didn't reply. Judith sent me a photo of her ornament, smashed in a trash bin. I blocked her number. Scott and I are still living together, but it's not the same. Something shifted. I still teach third grade. I still wait tables on weekends. But now, when people tip me, I look them in the eye. Because no matter what Scott's family thinks, I know my worth. And I'm not done yet. It was mid-January when Scott finally snapped. We were eating takeout on the couch. He was quiet, staring at his phone. Then he tossed it onto the coffee table hard enough to knock over his water glass. They're not speaking to me, he said. You made my mom cry. I kept chewing. I didn't make her say those things, I said. He stood up. Paste. She's family. You don't humiliate family. I looked up at him, real slow. And what am I? He didn't answer. Just stood there, fists clenched, like he wanted to scream, but didn't know how. That night, he slept in the guest room. Next morning, he left for work early. Didn't say goodbye. 2 days later, I got a package in the mail. No return address. No note. Inside was a small photo album. The cover said, Better Days in gold lettering. I opened it. Page after page of photos of Scott and Melanie. Him kissing her on a beach. Her sitting on his lap in a Christmas sweater. Both of them holding Duke as a puppy. Her blowing out candles on her birthday, with his whole family clapping in the background. I stared at it for a long time. My hands didn't even shake this time. I put it back in the box. Walked to the trash. Dropped it in. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and started making a list. 1. Who sent the album? Could have been Dana. Maybe Judith. Maybe even Melanie herself. I didn't care. The point was they weren't done. 2. What did they think this would do? Make me insecure? Break me? Drive me out? If that was their plan, they didn't know me at all. That night, I asked Scott if Melanie ever reached out to him. He was pouring a whiskey. She sent a card last month, he said, without looking up. You didn't tell me. It didn't mean anything. What did it say? I don't remember. Lie better. He slammed his glass on the counter. Why are you still here if you hate us so much? I laughed. Because I'm not done yet.
His face changed.
For the first time, I saw fear. Over the next week, I did some digging. Quietly. Asked a coworker who is good with tech to help me pull metadata from the album photos. I told her I was working on a scrapbook surprise. She smiled. No questions. Turns out, a few of the photos were taken within the last year. Not old memories. New ones. From family events I wasn't invited to. A birthday party. A hike. A dinner in Prescott. Melanie was still seeing them, while Scott and I were married. I waited until Sunday night. After dinner. After he was full and sleepy. I pulled out my laptop. Opened the folder. Clicked through each photo. One by one. Recognize these? He looked. Blinked. Said nothing. Your sister. Your mom. Your ex. All smiles. While I was at home grading papers. Still nothing. Then I opened one last photo. It was Melanie and Scott's mom at a winery. Laughing. Arms around each other. Dated 2 weeks ago. He finally spoke. She's just around. It's not a big deal. She's not just around. She's in it. All of them are. And you let it happen.
He didn't argue.
He didn't even try. I said, tell me the truth. Did you ever stop loving her? He rubbed his face. Then whispered, I don't know. And that broke something clean in me. After he said, I don't know, I didn't speak. Not that night. Not the next day. I moved into the guest room without a word. Scott didn't ask me to come back. He stayed up late. Started sleeping on the couch instead of the bed. We were ghosts in our own house. But the silence didn't last long. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Dana. I let it go to voicemail. Then came the text. I think you should know something. Please call me back. I ignored her. I didn't owe her anything. Then a letter arrived. Handwritten.
No envelope.
Just folded in half and shoved under our front door. I recognized the handwriting. It was Judith's. I opened it. Diane, I'm not apologizing for defending my family, but I will say this. Melanie never stopped being around because Scott never asked her to stop.
You deserve to know that. G.
That was it. No love. No, sincerely. Just that. I sat at the kitchen table and stared at the paper for a long time. That night, I went into our bedroom. Scott was on his phone. I handed him the letter. He read it, said nothing. Then I asked, when was the last time you saw her? He swallowed hard. 4 months ago. At Dana's house. I nodded. Did you kiss her?
No.
Did you want to? Silence. I stood there, arms crossed. Then he said something I'll never forget. I thought I was over her. But when my family kept her around, it got confusing. It felt like she was still part of me. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just said, and what was I? A stand-in until they wore her memory out.
He looked at me.
Eyes red.
No.
You were the first one who ever really saw me. That should have meant something. But it didn't. Because love doesn't mean much when it lives in the shadow of someone else. Over the next few days, I started making moves. I printed every screenshot, every message, every photo, put them in a binder, labeled it for reference. I found a lawyer in town. Quiet office. Friendly receptionist. I told Scott I was going for coffee with a friend. Inside, I laid it all out. The lawyer looked through everything slowly, then looked up at me and said, you could bury him with this. I smiled. Not yet, I said. But soon. A week later, I got a message from a woman I didn't recognize. Her name was Erica. She said, you don't know me, but I know Melanie. We used to work together. I messaged back. Okay? Then she said, you should probably know. Melanie told people she was still seeing your husband. not just as a friend. My heart stopped. I asked for proof. 10 minutes later, she sent me a screenshot of a group message. Melanie bragging about seeing Scott again, saying it's like he's married on paper, but emotionally still mine. And then, if Diane knew half the things he told me, she'd burn that house down. I sent the screenshot to myself.
Printed it.
And I waited. I didn't tell Scott about the screenshot. Not right away. Instead, I started playing the same game he and his family had played, quiet, smiling, calculated. That Friday, I asked him if he wanted to go out to dinner. His eyes lit up. Like he thought maybe we were healing. I picked the place. A little Italian restaurant downtown, where we used to go when we were dating. Candlelight, soft music, wine poured without asking. We sat across from each other, him leaning in, trying to be charming again. I smiled. Let him talk. Let him think things were softening. Then halfway through his tiramisu, I slid my phone across the table. Unlocked. Opened to the screenshot from Erica. I watched his face fall like a rock. His fork clinked against the plate. He didn't even try to deny it. She's lying, he said too quickly. She said you told her things about me? I said. What things? He blinked. She's exaggerating. You told her I don't satisfy you. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. I leaned in. You told her I don't challenge you. That I'm comfortable, not exciting. That I was never supposed to be permanent. Still nothing. I pulled out a folded piece of paper. His text to his cousin from that group chat. Let's not go there, LOL. Underlined. Circled. I went there, I said. He looked down at the table, both hands shaking. I made a mistake, he said. No, I said. You made a series of choices. The next morning, I changed all the passwords to the joint accounts. Froze the credit cards. Removed him from my health insurance. He noticed quick. Came storming into the kitchen. What the hell is this? He shouted, holding his locked-out phone screen. Security, I said calmly. Standard practice when you can't trust who you live with. He yelled. I didn't. He slammed doors.
I packed a bag.
I booked a room at a motel across town and took Duke with me. The dog didn't hesitate. That night, I texted him. If Melanie wants you, she can have you. But she's also getting the version with no money, no benefits, and no one left to lie to. But I wasn't done yet. Because Judith still sent group texts to Scott and the family. I knew because his iPad was still connected to our Wi-Fi. Still synced to our shared iCloud. And I could see everything. A new message came in from Dana. Diane's gone? Judith. Good riddance. She was never one of us. Brooke. That she runs back when she realizes she can't afford to be single. So I replied. From Scott's iPad. One message. I never belonged to you in the first place. And I don't run, I rebuild. Then I signed out of his iCloud.
Permanently.
It took 3 weeks for Scott to call me again. I didn't answer. Then I got the email. Long rambling. Apologetic in parts, defensive in others. He said he never meant for it to go this far. Said he missed Duke. Said he missed me. He ended it with. Maybe we can talk. Maybe we can fix this. I stared at the screen. Then I opened the reply window. There's nothing left to fix. You didn't break a plate. You broke a person. And I sent it. I filed for divorce the next day. Used the same lawyer. Brought the binder. Brought the screenshots. Brought the photo album Judith sent. My lawyer read through it all and just shook her head. We'll make this fast. 2 months later, Scott was still living in our house. The one I had paid the down payment on with my savings. The one that had my name on the deed, not his. I let him stay there. I didn't fight him for it. Instead, I quietly bought a tiny condo on the other side of town. Nothing fancy. But mine. All mine. And, before the final court hearing, I stopped by the house one last time. Not to argue. Not to beg. Just to pick up a few boxes I had left in the garage. He came out looking tired.
Thin. Pale.
I told him I didn't hate him. That was the truth. But I also told him this. You didn't ruin me. You reminded me how strong I am when I stopped letting people treat me like a placeholder. He looked like he wanted to cry, but I didn't stay long enough to find out if he did. Judith sent me a card 3 weeks after the divorce was final. Inside, "You are too sensitive." I burned it in my kitchen sink. Last Christmas, I made new ornaments. For my tree. Clear glass. Filled with gold glitter. Inside each one, a tiny slip of paper. Words that came from me. "I am not Plan B. I survived the comparison. I am not your memory to erase." As for Melanie, 3 months after the divorce, I got a message from Erica again. She and Scott broke up. She says he was still in love with you. She thinks he used her to feel powerful. I didn't reply, because by then I had learned none of them ever really wanted me. They just wanted someone to fill the silence.
And now?
I live in peace. I teach. I walk Duke. I drink wine on Friday nights in a home no one can take from me. They called me a walking student loan. But I call myself free.